What are you doing, punk?
That's the question you should be asking yourself.
From the beginning of One Piece, we've always seen Zoro as the swordsman of the crew, but whenever fans asked Master Oda about Zoro being the first mate or vice captain of the crew, he always gave the same answer. Oda always said that Zoro and Sanji are on the same level of hierarchy in the crew, but is that really the case? Today, I'll prove to you that no, Zoro is indeed Luffy's first mate, and I'll also explain what he did to become the vice captain of a Yonko and the future king of the pirates.
Mark my words! I'll never be defeated! Is that alright? King of the pirates!
The renowned swordsman Roronoa Zoro grew up almost entirely alone. We don't know much about his parents or his early childhood. I have some very interesting theories about Zoro's life, childhood, and lineage. Leave a like and comment below, and I will definitely make a video about it. But one thing we do know is that Zoro grew up going from dojo to dojo looking for enemies to fight, and this started at a very young age. However, Zoro arrived at a dojo where he couldn't defeat his opponent. Rather, his opponent was a woman. Her name was Kuina, and she was a swordswoman just like Zoro. While Zoro fought with 2 swords or as many as he could carry, Kuina fought with just 1 sword, and she was extremely skilled at it. After all, Kuina was the daughter of the dojo owner, and she had mastered the art of the sword and knew very well how to fight. Zoro tried to fight against her but was defeated over 2,000 times. Kuina was much more skilled than Zoro, but because she was a woman, she was believed by herself and her father to never be able to become a great swordswoman. However, Zoro changed her mind. He managed to convince Kuina that she could truly become the greatest swordswoman in the world, just as he dreamed of becoming too. But I believe everyone here knows the end of this story. Unfortunately, Kuina died, a completely tragic end for such a strong swordswoman. She fell down a staircase and passed away.
Damn it! We made an important promise to each other just yesterday! You can't let me down like this!
And Zoro promised her that he would become the strongest swordsman in the world. This is where the journey of our green-haired swordsman truly begins. He had become a bounty hunter, which is quite ironic considering that today, he is one of the most wanted pirates in the world. It was during his time as a bounty hunter that he met Luffy. At a moment when Zoro had been captured, Luffy changed the course of his life, saving him and inviting him to stop being a bounty hunter and become a pirate once and for all. Zoro was the first member of the Straw Hat Pirate.
What are you, the son of the devil? It doesn't matter, because if I don't choose your side, I'll just end up dead on these sticks. So let's do it.
So you're finally gonna join my crew!
Now that you've refreshed your memory about Zoro's journey, let's start listing the reasons and achievements that make him the first mate of the crew. The swordsman has always had this first mate aura, which is due to being the first member Luffy recruited for his crew. It might not seem obvious, but Luffy always takes into account everything Zoro says. From the beginning, we see Zoro's total loyalty to Luffy, as from the moment he became an official member, he showed his complete trust in Luffy and his dream of becoming the Pirate King. As Zoro himself says, it doesn't make sense to be in the crew of the Pirate King if he isn't the world's greatest swordsman. That's why he trains every day to surpass and defeat Dracula Mihawk, the current strongest swordsman in the world, who trained Zoro during the 2-year time skip when the Straw Hats were separated. Luffy has always viewed Zoro as the second strongest member. In all the battles fought so far, Luffy would face the strongest enemy, while Zoro faced the second strongest, and Sanji the third. But in recent arcs, we've seen Zoro and Sanji's power levels become quite balanced. Sanji discovered that he was practically an emotionless immortal robot created by his own family. Meanwhile, Zoro has reinforced his haki, imbuing his swords with such power and awakening Conqueror's haki during the battle against Kaido. In your opinion, who is stronger at the moment, Sanji or Zoro? But it's not just because of his strength that the swordsman has earned this first mate reputation. Do you remember when Usopp completely lost control over the Going Merry back in Water 7? Usopp was distraught because he couldn't accept that the Going Merry was no longer seaworthy. He tried everything to keep sailing with it. Luffy tried to explain that it was impossible, and they needed a new ship, but Usopp refused to accept it, leading to a duel between Usopp and Luffy. In this battle, Usopp surprised many by truly trying to defeat Luffy, but of course, Luffy won. However, there were rumors that Usopp planned to return to the crew. At one point, everyone wanted Usopp back without him apologizing to the captain. The only one who reacted against this decision was Zoro, stating that he would not accept Usopp back into the crew unless he apologized to the captain and asked to rejoin himself. Zoro made it clear to everyone that, despite Luffy being a complete idiot at times, he is still the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates and deserves respect. Zoro's speech was so crucial that even Sanji agreed with him, despite being rivals. Zoro made one thing very clear to everyone. We're not playing at being pirates.
So the fact that he left our crew means nothing? He can come and go as he pleases? We're not just pretending to be pirates. This isn't a game.
I think by now you understand why Zoro is indeed the vice captain of the Straw Hat Pirate, but I'm going to mention a few more details that you'll have to agree with me on. Every time Luffy isn't around and only Zoro is with the crew, it's always Zoro who gives the orders. Of course, everyone needs to agree on what will be done and also accept it. However, Zoro is the one in charge when Luffy is not around, whether it's within the crew or the Straw Hat Fleet. The Straw Hat Fleet itself treats Luffy as the captain and Zoro as the vice captain. Additionally, the swordsman's bounty reached 1,111,000,000 berries. Meanwhile, Sanji's bounty is around 1,032,000,000 berries, almost 100 million less than Zoro's. Another achievement of Zoro that makes this very clear is his willingness to sacrifice himself for Luffy and the crew. Do you remember when Kuma came to Thriller Bark, that ghost ship of Gecko Moria? Well, everyone was exhausted after defeating the Shichibukai, especially Zoro after fighting the giant zombie, Oars. After the battle, Bartolomeo Kuma arrives on the island and says that Luffy is in a lot of pain, asking if Zoro would take Luffy's place to prevent his capture. Kuma offers Zoro the option to escape unharmed, but the swordsman would have to take Luffy's pain. This Shichibukai has various powers, one of which is to take away all the pain Luffy has endured and leave it wandering until someone receives it as a shock. Knowing that his survival would be nearly impossible, Zoro accepts the offer. Before receiving all the pain at once, Zoro only receives 1% of Luffy's pain and nearly collapses from the agony, screaming non-stop. Receiving 100% of the pain would make his death inevitable. But still, Zoro does not back down and accepts the full load that was within Luffy. After some time, Sanji wakes up and goes to check on Zoro, who is covered in blood and nearly dead. Despite the pain, Zoro maintained his honor and stood tall. And when Sanji sees him standing there, he is completely shocked by the scene. Zoro could have revealed that he took Luffy's pain to prevent his capture, but when Sanji asked why he was on the brink of death, the swordsman calmly and coldly responded, Nothing happened.
Where'd that paw guy go? What in the hell happened here?
What happened here? Nothing at all.
My friends, this is the definitive proof that Roronoa Zoro is the vice captain or first mate of the Straw Hat Pirate. Zoro doesn't officially have this title because everyone in the crew is practically equal under the captain. But today, I'm sure I've shown you that Zoro is indeed the first mate of Luffy's crew, not only because of what he has done, but also because of what Zoro represents in the crew.
That was today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a like and comment on the video. Then subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you won't miss the next videos. Take care, and see you next time.